All right, we are so excited about this one. This is 11 acres with an actual log cabin, the original homestead for the area. It's been used as a lodge until somewhat recently. It's an amazing property. We're going to take a look at it from the air. Two-bedroom log cabin, has a great room, has a kitchen area, has a bathroom in there. There's a pine tree. There's a little more of the cabin. I think we're just trying to get the drone in the air. There's a massive, you just saw it on the left, massive oak tree right in the backyard, a couple hundred years old. Okay, this is an early spring video, so just a few of the trees have their leaves in this video, but it's going to make it easier to see the ground and kind of check out the land itself. Little shed in the backyard. Directly at the bottom of the screen, you've got your own private vineyard. There's about 30 mature grapevines in 3 rows there. There are fruit trees adjacent to the grapevines, peach and pear and some other stuff. We're looking southerly toward the easement road. That pond that you see on the right, that is not on the property. That's on a property next to this one. So it borders, as we look to the south, it borders the easement road along its south side. Oh, there's a great shot of it. Okay, so you can see the cabin, you can see the easement road on the south at the bottom. We're going to check out the whole property. At the very north end, the entire north side borders a small creek bed. So you've got live water there. May or may not be year-round. We don't know. There's been water in it when we've been out there, but it's really pretty. You've got a large meadow in the center, wooded on both sides. It's going to be the highest on the south by the easement road, and then slopes down gradually as you come into the meadow. Once you get north of the meadow toward the creek, oh, here we go. Topo map is showing us what we just said. It's the highest on the south side by the easement road. That black dashed line you see is just an old historic road. That's not the easement. The easement road is on the south side. Slopes down very gradually. Once you get north of the meadow into the timber, it starts to slope down more steeply as you go to the creek bed. And I think we'll see all of that within the video here. There we go. So we're facing southerly, but we're flying northerly, looking at the property. And again, early springtime, so just a few of the leaves are out. And I believe once we start to look down at the creek bed, there'll be basically no leaves on those trees, because that particular area, of course, is a little cooler. And so it takes an additional week or two for those trees to catch up with the rest of the trees, which is interesting. I think we fly down and get a little closer to the creek bed. I'm not sure. This is a long video, so we're going to get a pretty good look at this. We're going to have additional videos, of course, on the website as well, so you can see the property from the ground. I'm sure we've got a video where we go in the cabin. It's super cool cabin. Okay. So slowly dropping, and I'm fairly certain we're trying to get close to that creek bed without hitting a tree, and that's why we're going kind of slowly with the drone here. Mostly hardwood trees, red oak, white oak, hickory, but I mean you'll have probably dozens of different species of trees out here. And somewhere in there's a creek bed. Tough to see from the air anyway. Looks like some cedar trees down there as well. Mixture of cedar and hardwood on this north side of the property. There's the creek. So we call that James Creek. One of our guys saw that on a map somewhere. We've yet to find out if that's the official name. James Creek is spring-fed. It's really pretty. You've got several hundred feet of frontage on the creek, so you're going to have a gravel bottom creek bed, flat rock bottom creek bed, possibly sand in some areas. I mean, it's just a really cool ancient creek bed that borders the north side of this property. I don't know if we have any videos of the actual creek or not, but it's definitely cool. It's hard with the drone because you want to get right down and see that water, but unless you have the drone in your line of sight, you really have no idea how close you are to any of the limbs on the trees. And if you so much as just nick one of those limbs with the drone, it sets off a pretty bad chain reaction, and the thing starts to move around and hit other limbs, and then you get a drone crash on your hands. And then not only do you break the drone, but you have to go recover it. It's a whole thing. So that's probably why they didn't get that close to the creek bed. The deer and the turkey obviously love it out here. Even if you didn't have the creek bed and the meadow and the mature timber, you'd still have deer and turkey on your property. In this case, when you have all those things, yeah, you're going to have a wildlife, what's the word? Thinking back to high school, wildlife menagerie. Pretty sure that's a word. Okay, so I believe in a moment we'll go back up and we'll see the rest of this property. Those bright white trees, those are dogwoods. Those are generally the first leaves to come out. Okay. Now we're back up and at them. So now we're basically over the north end of the property. We're looking southerly. So from the creek, you can see how it slopes up. When you get to the timber near the meadow, it starts to level out. And I'm sure we're going to do a whole flyover here. Regarding the cabin, check out the other stuff on the listing page, but it does have a drilled well. It was in use until fairly recently. Like we said, this was kind of used as a hunting lodge. The cabin is pretty darn amazing. We've never seen anything like it. We won't see much of the cabin from the air other than probably the roof, but the roof looks pretty good from the air. Okay, so now we're just going to head south, going from mature timber to that beautiful open meadow. And then once we get toward the south side of that meadow, closer to the yard and the cabin itself, that's where we'll see those grapevines and those fruit trees. Stunning location. I mean, we're just 3-4 miles from the little town of Dixon, but extremely private. Okay, so those fence posts have stout wires strung between them. There's 3 rows, and that's the vineyard on the property. You can see those mature grapevines. Actually, those trees you see, there's at least half a dozen fruit trees. We identified I think a pear tree, a peach tree. Almost definitely there's going to be some apple trees. You can see a couple trailers and 4-wheelers. Those unfortunately are not included in the sale. So if we were to redo this video just a week or 2 after it was taken, then all you would see are green leaves everywhere, which is gorgeous, but you wouldn't be able to see as much of the ground. We love to take videos in the winter and early spring if possible, because then you can see if there's been any logging on the property. In this case, there hasn't been any recent logging that we could see. You'll have, I'm sure, some trees that were removed along the south side, along the easement road itself. And in fact, this video was taken before the easement road was widened out. So the extreme south end of the property might look a little different because that road already has been or will be widened out. You can see how the easement road, and it goes off, cuts to the left, which is south, and then down to the county road, which is Cactus Road. So it cuts south, hangs a right, or goes west, and then that's Cactus Road back there. The property does have its own private driveway, which goes north off the easement road. And if we look down, we're looking northerly now of the property. So you can see that pond on the adjacent tract, and you can see where the easement road cuts almost straight north. Once it starts to cut north, that's basically when it becomes the private driveway. So the west property line is going to be, whoop, there. Well, that's a nice shot to have, actually. I was about to say the west property line is just past the right side of that pond. The cabin is about centered east to west, and the property is about 330 feet wide, so nice and wide. Goes to the south a little over a quarter mile. Awesome, awesome tract. That dashed line, by the way, is the easement road, which borders the south side and continues on to the east. You can see that a little bit. Gorgeous timber on this tract. So very, very private. Obviously, the private driveway itself you could gate as long as you're not within the road easement on the easement road. I mean, looks really good. As we said, it's got a drilled well. Won't go into too much detail about the cabin because you can watch the other videos for that. But this is just awesome. With this early spring drone video, you can see the mature timber. You've got thousands of mature hardwood trees on this property. In fact, after it's been paid for in full, you could log it. You could use the timber to build another log cabin. I'm sure that log cabin was originally built with timber from this land, although it was probably in the late 1800s or early 1900s. Unbelievable property. We've never had anything like this. Looks like that's it for our drone video, but check out the listing page. We've got a ton of information. Give us a call if you have any questions. We would love to talk to you about this property in the Ozarks.